Hi, my name's John Shrives, and I'm part of the Learning Services team here at Royal LePage Canada. Thank you so much for taking your time joining in today's Marketing Center webinar. Today we're going to be spending about an hour of our time together, and I want to walk you through some of the functionality that's available within the Marketing Center. I would like this session to be as interactive as possible. So feel free if at any point you've got any questions, you can find in the top right hand of your screen, if you're viewing this in Google Plus or Hangouts, you'll see this little like kind of turquoise colored icon that has the letters Q and A inside. And if you click on that icon, it'll open up a chat navigation on the right hand side where you can type in a question for me. If you're viewing today's presentation as a recording, you can always get in touch with us here at Learning Services at learningservices@royallepage.ca. And I'll be sharing with you some other contact information as I go throughout today's presentation. So with that, let's dive right in and get talking about the Marketing Center and all the functions that are available to you. Just give me a moment here while I transfer my screen over. And here we go. So in terms of today's agenda, there's a number of topics that I want to cover. The first one being a function called Listings Data Integration. And what that means is that if you currently have a listing live on MLS, you have the ability to automatically create feature sheets, business cards, brochures, a variety of different templates within the Marketing Center using that information from your listing. So I'm going to walk you through the steps for doing that, but basically what the purpose of it is just to make the creation of your feature sheets and all your other marketing needs as simple as possible. I want to go over some basic tips for you when you're getting started with the Marketing Center and kind of some of the first things that you should do when you're going into the system. We'll talk a little bit about finding new templates for different marketing projects. I will walk you through step by step the process of creating something within the Marketing Center. And when we get to the end of that process, talk about the options that are available to you in terms of how you want to distribute the project and get it out to your clients. I want to give you some advice on Canada's anti-spam legislation and talk about some of the functionality that has been built into the Marketing Center to ensure compliance. And then towards the end, we're going to add context into the Marketing Center, and I'll show you how to set up a drip marketing campaign so that you could send regular messages to your clients. Before we get started, I want to talk about some of the support that is available to you. One of the main places for support being our customer care team. They're available from Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., and their role is to provide support for all of the tools and services that Royal LePage provides. So that definitely includes the Marketing Center, but it also includes other tools such as the RLP network, your royallepage.ca email, as well as royallepage.ca. So what is the Marketing Center? The Marketing Center is our online tool that was designed to make the creation of marketing materials as simple as possible. So we've got hundreds of professionally designed templates for you to choose from. And we've also put in a lot of stock images as well as newsletter articles so you can pull those together and make your own marketing pieces quickly and easily. As I was mentioning earlier, there is also drip marketing functionality so that you'll have the ability to send out email messages to your clients. And as of, I believe last year, the Marketing Center is touch friendly, which means that you can use it on a tablet, no problem. Another thing to keep in mind is the fact that the Marketing Center is constantly innovating. So we're regularly adding new templates and designs, new distribution options, as well as new functionality. So if you ever have feedback for us in terms of something you'd really like to see in there, please be sure to get in touch with us so that we can help make sure that that feature gets added. We really want this tool to be as useful as possible for you. So any input that you have on things that we should be doing is greatly appreciated. And just to give you an example of that, on the right-hand side of the screen there, I've got a picture of one of the new projects that's going to be soon coming to the Marketing Center. It's a property website with the carriage trade branding. So basically, it's kind of like a slideshow, but taken to the whole next level, where you could then input video, neighborhood information, and really build that out to create a very engaging marketing piece for marketing your listings. So there is the carriage trade version that we're expecting within the next, I'd say, month or two. So with that, let's actually go into the Marketing Center now. I'm just going to switch my screen over and open up a new internet window. And from there, we can get logged in. So to get into the Marketing Center, of course, the first place that you need to go is the RLP network. And I'm going to log in. And to get to the Marketing Center, I'm going to go to the Marketing tab. And then I'm going to select Marketing Center. So the first thing I wanted to talk to you about was listings data integration. And the way that you can access this feature is right from this page on the RLP network. You'll see that there's this box just below the Launch Marketing Center button. So if you currently have a listing active, then you'll see this option available to you. If you don't have a listing active at the moment, then you won't have this option available to you because there's nothing for the listing to pull from. But basically, what you need to do in terms of getting this set up is that you'll first choose which listing. So in this case, I've only got the one. It's 1280 Kelly Street. And then I choose what kind of template I want to create. You can see there's a whole range of different options available to me. Brochures, feature sheets, property cards. The one I'm going to choose, I want to do a one-page feature sheet for one agent. So I select that template here, just click in the little box. And the third step is just to click Launch Marketing Center, which proceeds to open up the Marketing Center in an all-new window. And I'm going to be able to proceed with the creation of my piece. So the project name, I first need to name this project in order to save it. I'm going to call it 1280 Kelly Street. And I'm going to put an underscore FS. And I'm just using FS as a short form for feature sheet, just a way for me to really manage all of my projects. Then I need to save this into a folder. So I happen to already have a 1280 Kelly Street folder. But of course, if I didn't, I could click Create New Folder to create a new folder. Our recommendation is that you do actually create a new folder for each one of your listings. It'll just make it that much easier for you to manage all your projects. I do have the ability to put in a project description if I wanted to, but that's just a note for you if you wanted something to kind of refresh your memory in terms of what this project is. And so now I'm going to choose the listing. I wanted to do 1280 Kelly Street. And save and continue. So I'm getting a little message here from the system, just letting me know that it's going to be pulling the information from my listing on MLS and inputting it into my feature sheet template. So I'm okay with that. And now I'm just going to give it a moment to load. And so all of the photos have been loaded. Now you can see here that I've got 5 different photos, and you might be wondering, where are these photos actually going to display on the finished product? At any point during the creation of something in the Marketing Center, you can always click on View Layout on the left-hand side, and you can see a larger version of what this template is going to look like. So in terms of those 5 photos that I've got ready to go to add into this project, photo 1 is going to be this large image in the top left corner. So in most cases, it's probably going to be a picture of the exterior of the home. And then photos 2 through 5 are those smaller ones around the side. For those, I'm probably going to want to have photos of the different rooms of the home. So you can see I've got all of the images here. They've been automatically cropped to fit the dimensions of this template. However, you may have noticed that this first image has an exclamation mark in the top right-hand corner. And there's a little explanation here. The reason for that is that there's a quality alert. So sometimes when you enter a listing with your board, and then the data goes up to CREA and then comes over to Royal LePage. In that transition, sometimes the resolution and the photo quality can be degraded. And so that can be the case then when you're pulling these same images over into your marketing center projects. So if I click on this image, I can see a larger version. In this case, I actually don't think the quality is that bad. I think that it'll still look quite good when I print it. But if I was concerned, I could delete this image by clicking on the trash can and then go to add new photos. And I'd have the ability to upload the higher quality version of this photo into the marketing center. So I've got all my photos in there. Let me move ahead now to the next step, and that would be the text. And same as we had with the photos a moment ago, all of the text has come over as well from the listing. So I can see all of the data. It's all filled in there. I'm not going to go through what each one of these fields means. I'm going to talk a little about what that means later on in the presentation. But for now, I just want to give you the sense of how easy it is to create one of these feature sheets using the listing data integration function. The fourth step is your agent information, which comes automatically from your profile within the Marketing Center. So all of my contact information is accurate. I've got my photo there, so everything's good to go. I can save and continue. And I'll do a quick preview. And there you go. In just a few minutes, I was able to create this feature sheet. Looks fantastic, professional quality. And already I would be able to take this to my printer or to distribute it to my clients any way that I see fit. And I will talk a little bit later on about some of the distribution options that are available to you. So let me go back to the RLP network for just a moment. And what I want to show you here is the fact that from this Marketing Center page, if you're not going to do the listings data integration, you can simply launch the Marketing Center to open it up in a new window. And the first thing that you're going to want to do when you go into the Marketing Center is to update your profile in the top right-hand corner. So if you click on where your name is, you'll see a drop-down menu with a few different options that are available to you. The first one is Profile, which is where you have your information as well as your contact information. So I've got my name, phone numbers, website address, and email address. And then on the right-hand side, I have my photo. My photo's already been uploaded, but if you haven't uploaded one of your photos yet, you're going to see a gray box with a message in there that says click here to upload your photo. And when you click into that box, then it's going to open up a window for you to search your hard drive and to select a file for you to upload. You'll notice that when I hover over my image, there's 2 different icons that appear. On the left-hand side, there's a little trash can, and that will delete this image. The icon on the right, it looks like a grid with a line through it. That's for cropping the image. So if I click on it, I have the ability to change the sizing. You'll notice that I can change the dimensions because it's keeping the frame that works best with the templates in the Marketing Center, but I can change the sizing and I can recenter it. But I'm going to go back, leave it how it was, and crop. And remember, if you're making any changes to the information in your profile, you're going to want to click the Save button in the bottom right-hand corner. And once you click the Save button, I'm going to receive a little message in green that confirms that the changes have gone through and my profile has been updated. And there you see it at the top of the screen. Second thing you'll want to do is go in back to your profile. And this time we're going to select the second option, and that's business info. And what we mean by business info is all the information that's specific to your brokerage. So your brokerage name as well as the brokerage address. On the right-hand side, you have the choice of logo. And there's going to be two options for you to choose between. There's going to be the standard Royal LePage logo, like what you see on the right-hand side, or there's a logo that's specific to your brokerage, and you'll see that on the left-hand side. For this project, or for my profile rather, I'm going to go ahead and choose the logo that's specific to my brokerage and select and close. And so because I have made changes, I'm going to click the Save button just to make sure it all goes through. When I go up to my name for the third time, I'm going to select the next option in the list, and that is account settings. And so there's a few just kind of configuration options that are available to you here. The first one is whether or not you want to use a bit.ly short URL. And if you're creating something in the Marketing Center and you want to distribute a link to the project, then you can use this bit.ly short URL. It's just a way of having a shorter URL when you're distributing the project. And the reason that might be relevant is if you're dealing with a situation where you have a limit in terms of the number of characters that you can use. So for example, if you were to share a link via Twitter, then you'd want to shorten that URL as much as possible since you only have 140 characters to begin with. Next, there's a question, do you want to send mail only to those who have given consent? And that is based on Canada's new anti-spam legislation. And there's a lot of functionality that's been built into the system to help you comply with the regulations. And this is one of those options that you can use. If you do choose yes, then I will show you a little bit later, once we get into the contact section, how you can go about indicating that someone has given you consent and some of the parameters around that. You're able to set your time zone, and that's relevant if you are going to be sending out email campaigns from your email account. Just will time it accordingly and make sure that if you set it for your time zone, that it's not sending messages to your clients at 1 in the morning. The final question is what language you would like to use. You have the option between no preference, English, French, or bilingual. If you are only ever going to be using the English, I strongly encourage you to select English. The advantage of that being that it will then hide all of the French templates for you and just to remove any potential confusion that there might be there. If you do work in both English and French, then I would recommend that you select no preference. The reason for that is if you do choose bilingual, it's only going to show you templates that have both English and French on them, and it's going to severely restrict the number of options available to you. So if English only, choose English. If you do work in English and French, then go with no preference. Again, hit save if you've made any changes. The next option down within the profile section is the Photo Manager tool. And this is where you can come to input pictures that you intend to use in your marketing center campaigns and projects. So for example, if I just got a new listing at 123 King Street, I could go to have my pictures taken or have my photographer take those pictures for me. And once they come back to me, I can just upload a full album into the marketing center. And that way, when I go about creating the brochure and feature sheet for this listing, I've already got those images available to me because they're already in the system and ready to go. So if I click on album, I just click the plus sign. I could create a new album for my new listing and then upload all of the images that I have for that listing. Again, it's just a way of making it easy to access those photos when you're creating your marketing center projects. Let's talk about actually finding some templates that we can get started with to build projects. Best place to go for that is to the Designs tab. And we've got a lot of different options in terms of how you want to go about doing your search. So one of the simplest ones is up at the top here. There's a search bar. I could start typing in, say, feature sheet. And as soon as I do that, I get a bunch of drop-down options where I could choose between specific designs, products, keywords, themes. There's a box here in the design gallery where it's divided up into a few different sections. The first one being recent, so it shows me which projects I've worked on most recently. There are favorites, so that's anything that I've designated as a favorite will be saved in this section for easy access going forward. Popular are what are being used most often by other people within Royal LePage. And finally, featured. That's anything that we here at Royal LePage Canada have decided to highlight. And oftentimes, that would be the newest designs that we have and the latest templates that have been added into the system. If you scroll down, this is actually my preferred method of search, and that's searching by product. I find this page just very simple, very easy to use. You can see exactly what the different types of projects are. And then there's little icons in the bottom right-hand corner that explain how you can actually use this, this template and what it's intended for. So for example, the ones that have the PDF icon means that it's available for print. If it has an envelope icon, it's designed for email distribution. The ones that have the little globe icon means that it's designed for being hosted online. And the ones with the Facebook logo means that it's been designed for sharing on social media. So you've got a lot of options available to you. One of the neatest things that we have on here is our web app, which you can see in the bottom right-hand corner. And this is a fully customizable presentation that you can take out on a listing presentation. So it comes fully stocked with images, with a video, and with an explanation about Royal LePage as a company, as well as educating your clients on the real estate process. It's just a way for you to position yourself as the expert. Of course, it always also has the flexibility for you to go in there and edit it with local stats as well as information that's specific to you and your brokerage, and gives you the ability to talk more about your unique value as their realtor. Of course, of all of these templates, I find that the most popular ones are the feature sheets. So I'm going to go ahead and choose feature sheet. And on this page, I'm presented with a whole menu of drop-down menus. This is designed to help me narrow down my selection and find a template that really works for my purposes. So you'll notice that beside the word feature sheet, it has the number 66 in brackets. And what that means is that there are 66 different feature sheet templates available to me. So I'm going to want to use some of these other criteria as a way to narrow down my search. So for example, I'm going to choose one page only. I've already got English only. How about, what's another good one? Design element. I already did the is what we do. Maybe I might use one of the 100-year templates that we have. So if I click right onto the icon for the template, it pulls up this window, has a bit more information about this template, and I even have the ability to view a sample of what it will look like. If I were to hover my mouse over, there's two icons that appear. On the left-hand side, it's a star icon, and I can use that to make this template one of my favorites. So all I need to do is click into that star icon. And once the star becomes solid, then that means that it's now saved as one of my favorites. And going forward, it will be available in that favorites section that I was mentioning to you earlier on the designs page. The icon on the right-hand side, it looks like a box with a check in it. If I click on that, it's going to immediately take me into beginning to create that project. So I really like this design. I'm going to go ahead and click it. And let's go through the process of creating a feature sheet. So it's similar to what we were doing before. The first steps are always coming up with a name for it. So this time I'm going to do 123 King Street _ FS. And again, I'm just using FS as a short form for feature sheet. And I am putting this into a new folder. Let's see if I've got 123 King Street already. Oh, there it is. Perfect. So I'm going to select it. And this time I'm not doing the data integration. So I just want to make sure that that's turned off. So save and continue, and I move ahead to the next step in the process. And that would be the images. And now this is a different template. So you'll notice that I've got a different number of images available to me. In fact, this time I have up to 6 photos plus 3 award photos. And again, this is something kind of different. It's a new template. So you might be wondering, okay, where are these photos going to appear? Again, I just click on View Layout, and then I can see all of those images. So I see that photos 1 through 6 will be the images of the home on the right-hand side. And then the 3 award photos, they would be the ones that are displayed here towards the bottom. With those award photos, if you don't have any awards, that's totally okay. If you don't put them in, it'll just come up blank, but it won't be immediately obvious to the person who's looking at it that there's supposed to be something there. So it'll just be perfectly natural, and there just won't be any awards on it. In terms of getting images into the Marketing Center, you have several options available to you. If I click on the Add Photos button, then I can bring in new photos from a variety of places. My computer would allow me to upload them directly from my computer's hard drive. Project photos. This is a folder that saves any projects or any photos that you've already uploaded into the Marketing Center in the past. Album photos. So earlier when I was in that photo manager tool and I was showing you how you could upload an entire folder of images for a new listing that you've got, this is where you could come to access those now that you're actually in the process of creating a feature sheet within the Marketing Center. Favorite photos are any photos that you've indicated as a favorite. And the way that you've done that is just by clicking on that star again. And once the star becomes solid for any given image, it'll be saved in your favorite photos folder. Stock photos. So the Marketing Center does have a large library of images available for you to use. And finally, Dropbox, which for those of you who are not familiar with it, Dropbox is a tool for online storage, and you can have the images all in there. and then have them pulled over into the Marketing Center simply by clicking on their logo. So for this, I'm going to select Project Photos. And here we go. Perfect. I've got my folder for 123 King Street. So I can go ahead and select some of the images. So for photo 1, I want one of the outside of the home. So I'm going to select it. And then photo 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Add those in. And there we go. They automatically get cropped, but I could use this cropping tool if I wanted to recenter the image. There's this switching icon if I wanted to replace images. Obviously, the trash can icon would allow me to delete the image, and the magnifying glass just gives me a larger version of this image. Ooh, it's a very fancy bedroom. This template also gives me the flexibility to add some award logos as well. So I'm going to go ahead and add those in. We actually have the award logos already built into the system. They're in the stock photos section. So I just click on the stock photos button and I am choosing logos. I'm choosing English. And you can see that there are logos for all of the different Royal LePage awards. So I'm going to choose, let's say the Master Sales Award, and pull it in. And I just have just the one award, so I can go ahead and leave the other 2 spaces blank. On the text page is where I can put in all the information about this listing. You'll notice that when I click into each one of these fields, there's 2 different things that happen. Just below, there's the characters remaining, where it tells me how much space I still have available in this field. And on the right-hand side, just above the field, there's a little icon, looks like a piece of paper and a quill pen. And that's a tool called the Phrase Assistant. And the purpose of the Phrase Assistant is twofold, really. It saves some of the expressions that you've used in the past, so that if, say, you have your own tagline or something, you could pull that over into your each one of your projects. But there's also something called the Generic Phrases tool. And if you select a given keyword, say I want to talk about the home as being comfortable, it gives me a whole bunch of different expressions that I could use. And of course, these are fully customizable, but it gives you a starting point of some ideas for how you can talk about your listing in an interesting way. And so if you see something that you like here, you just click on it, insert and close, and then you're done. There's actually a third thing here in the Phrase Assistant, and that would be the articles. So that if you are creating a newsletter, there are some professionally written articles that are built into the system that you would be able to come in here and use for your own purposes. So you can come in, put in all of the information specific to the project. And a lot of the labels make it very clear what kind of information should go in each section. Of course, again, if you're ever wondering, all you have to do is click View Layout, just like we did with the images. And you'll see for each piece of text where it will actually be displayed in the finished product. The other thing is, because I have added an award logo in here, I need to add a year for that award. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2014 and save and continue. The last step is the agent information, which you can see has automatically been populated. And the way that the information is getting in here is because I've already updated my profile within the Marketing Center. And so it's automatically just pulling that information over. This is why we strongly encourage you to fill in your profile. It's really a time-saving measure for you so that each time you come into the marketing center, you don't constantly have to put in your email and upload a new photo of yourself and put in your phone numbers. All of that is done. You do it once, it's done, it's ready to go. One other thing to keep in mind is that your profile within the marketing center is a totally separate entity. So it's in no way linked to the profile that you have on the RLP network or on royallepage.ca. The profile in the marketing center is just for the marketing center, which means that if you haven't done so already, you would need to come here and update it, even if you've already done, say, your RLP network profile. This one is separate. So I'm happy with how it looks. I'm going to say save and continue, and I'm done. So let's do a quick preview just to see what the finished product looks like. It's probably going to be a little bit blank in spaces just because I didn't go ahead and enter any text. But again, I just want to give you the sense of what these projects look like and how easy it is to create something that is of really high quality. And so there we go. So my feature sheet is done now. If I were to click on the edit button, I could go back in and make any changes. If I click on the duplicate button, I could make copies of this project. The move button would allow me to save it in a different folder. And finally, delete would completely get rid of this project. I've got many options available to me in terms of distribution. And I want to go through and talk about each one and how you could use it. The first one being publish to web. And what we mean by publish to web is you can think of it as almost creating a unique web page specifically for this feature sheet. So if I click on publish to web on this page, choosing my size optimization, 75% is recommended. So I'm going to leave it like that. And it's going to give me a few options. It will provide me with a link that I can use, and then I could say put it into an email, share via social media, or even have it on my website. Or I could also get the embed instructions if I wanted to embed this project into my website. One of the great things about the publish to web feature is that you have the ability to track statistics and you can see how many people have viewed your project. There's an email to contacts option, which gives you the ability to distribute this project by email, assuming that you've already uploaded some contacts into the marketing center. With the email option, it sends it out in a very professional looking way. It wouldn't send your feature sheet as an attachment. It would actually be the message body itself, which gives it a much more professional look. And it means that the client doesn't have to open any potentially risky attachments. The other thing that's great about the email option is that if you use the Marketing Center's email system, it is fully compliant with Canada's anti-spam legislation. So for example, those who receive your messages, they do have the option to unsubscribe. And if someone were to unsubscribe from your mailouts, then you would receive a notification just so that you could potentially follow up with that person. One third benefit to the email option is the fact that it's able to track statistics. You can see who has opened the message, how many times they've opened the message, and whether or not you're getting any bounce backs because perhaps an address was entered incorrectly. The download PDF option would allow you to download this project, and from there you could either print it at home, print it in the office, or you could share it with a local printer that you're working with and have them take care of all your printing needs for you. There's the option to share the project via social media, and here you'll see links for the different social media networks. Basically, the way that works is if I were to choose, say, Facebook, I can click on the Facebook logo and it'll take me to their login page. And once I've input my username and password to log into my Facebook account, I'd have the ability to post this feature sheet directly onto my wall. On the right-hand side, there's that .com button for buying a domain name. So for this listing at 123 King Street, by clicking on the .com button, I would first have the option to see if that domain is available. And if it is, I could purchase it for a year. And the purchase price is $19.95 to have that domain name for the entire year. The final option for distribution is Color Tech Marketing. They are a printing company that partners with the marketing center, so they could do all the printing for you and then have it shipped directly to your home or your office. So that brings me to the end of the distribution section within the marketing center. I'm seeing that there's no questions so far. So I'm going to continue on and go to the contacts tab and talk about how you can go about getting your contacts into the system. So there is a button here, create new contacts, that would allow you to create contacts individually. But for those of you who already have a database or a book of business, you can simply import that list into the system. So I'll click the Import Contacts button. I'm going to come up with a name for this group. Let's call it my June 2015 clients. And click Next. And I've got an option in terms of the several formats that the Marketing Center is able to work with and understand. I find that Excel or CSV is by far the most common, especially because every CRM program and every email program that I've seen provides you with the option of exporting your contacts from that program into an Excel or CSV file format, which then makes it easy for you to import that file into your Marketing Center account. So I already have my contacts in an Excel CSV file format. So I'm going to click on that option and I'm going to pull up the file from my computer. There we go. Just took a second to open. I was getting impatient, but let me go here and select my file. It's my sample contact list. So it's not showing it on the screen here, but I have pulled up. Pulled up the file that I wish to upload. Okay. And here we go. So it's loaded it into the system. So what I need to do now is go ahead and match the columns, the header for each column with the data that's actually found in that field. So the Marketing Center has recognized that this first column, for example, is first name, and the second column is last name, and so on. And for the most part, I find that the system is very good at picking up what kind of data each one of these fields are. But in some cases, like with the province here, it missed it and skipped over it. So if I want to pick it up, just have to make sure that I set that column to pick up that information. So for the province data, I just want to go to select column and then province. Same. Oh, skipped email, which that's an important one. Definitely want to make sure I pull that. And it skipped their birthday. Second thing, there's a line here in blue, and it's asking me, is this a contact? What that means is that because I had these files in an Excel spreadsheet, the very first row in my spreadsheet was first name, last name, da 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 da. So it's asking me, is this actually a person? Is it a contact? Or are they just headers? And in this case, they're just headers. So it is not a contact. There's no person called first name, last name. So that is not a person. So now that I'm got it all set up, I click next, and it's going to pull over those contacts into my Marketing Center account. Now, this is an interesting thing for you to note. One of the things that is so great about the Marketing Center is that it will automatically recognize duplicates. So if you've already uploaded a contact into the system, then if you were to re-upload them, it's not going to put them in a second time. It's simply going to update that person's contact details if there's any changes that have been made since. So the system is very intelligent that way. And because I've uploaded this list in the past, it didn't actually create any new contacts because all of those people were already in the system. All it's done is updated those people in the system. So I click next and done. Now, if I were to go into one of these contacts, so say I choose Albert LePage, I can see all of the information. And if I go down to show advanced options, this is where I can come and access their consent history. And when we're talking about consent history, what we're talking about is the asking for permission to send them messages related to your business. So if I click on the request consent button, there's a pre-configured message that has been created by the Marketing Center that you could send out to your clients. All they have to do when they get this message is click that stay in touch link, and that is their way of indicating that they've given you permission to send them email messages. There's also the ability to manually enter consent. So perhaps that person has already provided consent, perhaps verbally or in an email format. Then you can go ahead and put a little message in here just for your own records of how you received that consent and then how long you'd like that consent to remain valid. For most commercial messages, you have the ability to send that person messages up to 24 months after the transaction date. But there is also the ability to make sure that their consent never expires if they've given you that explicit consent. Okay, so that's the contact section. Now let's move on to the campaigns. Campaigns are a series of pre-built email messages that you could send out so that you could have regular contact with your clients. And there's a few different formats available to you. Some are newsletters, and some are ways of educating either your buyer or seller clients. And again, really positioning you as the expert. There are two key different types of campaigns within the Marketing Center. Some are timing specific, by which we mean that they go out on based on a certain frequency of messages, whereas others are date specific. And that means that the messages will go out on a specific date. So let's actually look at one of these examples. Let's go into a newsletter campaign. Every quarter, we put out something called the homeowner newsletter, and there's articles about the market as well as some home maintenance and home decor tips that you can share with your clients. And this is an example of a date-specific campaign because those newsletters are programmed to go out on a certain date each quarter. So what you need to do with your campaign is first go to Manage Contacts and then the Contacts button and select who you'd like to send the messages to, either individuals or you could do entire groups all at once. And then once you've got some contacts, you'll see beside the little silhouette icon how many people are receiving that message. Campaign history is where you'll see the data from the messages that you send out and how many people are opening the messages. And then below, you'll see the messages themselves. So any of the reminders here that are indicated with the talk box or the talk bubble, those are just messages for you. And the ones that have the envelope icon, that means that it's actually a message that's going to be sent out to the client. And you can come here, you can see when it's going to be sent, and you can preview exactly what is going to be sent. So that's it for the campaigns section. And in fact, that's it for my presentation today in total. Before I let you go, I do want to let you know a bit about royallepage.ca/training. And this is where you can get information about all of the training programs that we provide. I'd strongly encourage you to join us for some of our other webinars, especially our sales success series, which is immensely popular. The next session is July 15th, and we're going to have our guest host, Chris Leader, to talk all about protecting your commission. If you can attend the session live, all of these webinars are recorded. Just click on the sales success page here on the side and you can view recordings. Or you can join the Building Your Tech Toolkit, which is all about Google Apps and staying on top of technology for real estate. The other thing I want to show you on this page is that on the Getting Started with the Marketing Center page, if you just scroll down, we have a little survey. And so if you'd like to share your feedback on today's session, feel free to let us know what you thought and what topics you'd like us to see covered in the future. So with that, I want to thank you so much for taking your time to join us for this Getting Started with the Marketing Center webinar. And I wish that you'll really enjoy the tool and take advantage of all the functionality that's available to you. Here's the contact information for the customer care team, their toll-free number, as well as my information as part of the learning services team. So again, thank you for your attention today, and I look forward to seeing you at one of our future webinars. Have a great afternoon.